Hello, I'm Mrs. Celmer, and I'm here today with my two therapy dogs. I have Aubrey Rose and Melody Grace, and they're in their little spring flowered headbands because we want spring to come, and we want the weather to get nice, and they like to go sit outside. If they want to sit down, we'll let them sit down. Today I'm going to read you, first let me give a big shout out to Pleasant Hill, a big shout out to Marion Jordan, and a big shout out to Thomas Jefferson. I love those kids, and I love your schools and your teachers, and Aubrey's, I think, going to try and take her hat off already. Okay, but you know what? I'm going to read you a story about Aubrey. Aubrey's adventure in Petland. Okay, here we go. Aubrey lived in Palatine and dreamt of being a star with her very own TV show and chauffeured-driven car. But being cute and furry made stardom rather tough, especially as the only words she knew were "ruff" and "woof." Feeling brave, she folded up her PJs and a flannel, along with some ideas for her Aubrey YouTube channel. Sneaking into Mommy's room, she scrawled a doggy note, then kissed her gently on the cheek and went to get her coat. Scampering through the moonlight streets with thoughts of being wealthy, Aubrey stopped beside a sign and thought, I'll take a selfie. Pulling out her eye bone, she posed and took a snap, then headed to the airport while squinting at her map. Aubrey was excited because she'd never flown before, unless you count that time she slammed a laptop on her paw. And as the plane took off, she thought an A-list hound and mutt while trying to squish her nose into a teeny bag of nuts. When Aubrey got to Hollywood, she set up several meets, but most of them went wrong because she tinkled on the seats. And even though she tried her best, the top dogs weren't impressed. We've seen your act before, kid, and look at how you're dressed. With failure after failure, Aubrey confined. Confidence was shrinking, but then she saw a saxophone, which kind of got her thinking. I need to learn some new tricks to really make me shine, and then I'll make some videos and post them all online. Meanwhile, back in Palatine, Mommy found a note. My dog thinks she'll be famous? Oh, that's a silly goat. But suddenly she looked up and saw our Aubrey on the news. She became an online superstar with 50 million views. It seems dogs can learn new tricks, Mommy thought out loud, And even though she missed her friend, she was also very proud. There was Aubrey on a chat show, tootling away, while teetering on a unicycle doing dog ballet. Soon the world was going wild for Aubrey's jolly tunes. You could even buy a storybook and see her in cartoons. She brought a doggy mansion and a limo and a yacht. She even met the president and partied quite a lot. Other doggies lined up to shake Aubrey by the paw, and scripts for pet-based movies came tumbling through the door. She'd sit and count her money while lounging on her throne, but when she wasn't working, she'd often be alone. Because she felt so lonely, Aubrey bought more stuff, but even though she had it all, it was never quite enough. She tried some doggy yoga, which she thought might make her happy, but that just tied her up in knots and made her sore and snappy. Then suddenly it hit her as she chewed her oldest bone. What Aubrey wanted most of all was to be snuggled back at home. Yes, she missed her fancy life, the palm trees and her chauffeur, but none of that compared to cuddling with Mommy on the sofa. She called off all her concerts and she gave away her things, but all flights home were fully booked, so she clung onto the wing. Hanging on for her dear life as the plane took to the skies made Aubrey think of Mommy, and tears welled in her eyes. Soaring over Palatine, Aubrey thought, I've had a hoot, but home is where the heart is, so I need to parachute. Fumbling in her suitcase, she found a sparkly gown, then used it as the leap off to sort of slow her down. Tumbling through the fluffy clouds was really quite a rush, but Aubrey had to slow down or she'd soon be doggy mush. Just then she saw a mattress dumped upon a roof, so she steered herself towards it and landed with a woof. Oh, she's getting bored, I think. Jumping into Mommy's arms, Aubrey cried with joy. Then Mommy squeezed and squeezed even harder and squished her toy. Fame is pretty epic, but snuggling is the best, thought Aubrey as she curled up to enjoy a well-earned rest. Miles away in Hollywood, things were much the same. The countless pets arrived each day to search for wealth and fame. They often spoke about that dog who played the saxophone and how she left it all behind because she missed her home. But Aubrey wasn't bothered that she'd given fame the shove, because her trip had taught her that what really counts is love. She's sitting with her mom. That was a different book. Well, I hope you enjoy reading and you continue reading with now the schools being closed, but you still have work to do. Look at how good. Melody still has her flower ears on. Well, bye now.